Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on this call. We have nearly 200 people who registered for this webinar. So thank you for taking the time to be with us. The purpose of this 30-minute webinar is to provide a brief update on what we accomplished in 2022 and a quick look at what we hope to achieve in 2023. We'll be sure to leave some time for questions, so feel free to ask them in the chat box. These will go to Kristen Poteet, who's our Vice President of External Affairs and who's the host of today's meeting. So we'll be monitoring your questions in the chat box. This is also going to be recorded, so it can be shared with others not attending today. So if you have any questions that we're not able to get to, feel free to email me at david.williams@shelterstoshutters.org, and we'll get your answer. You know, when I first came on board in March of 2021, we established a business plan with 6 strategic priorities. And over the next 15 minutes, I'd like to touch on what we did in these areas in 2022, and then just a little bit about what we're planning to do in 2023. So these 6 priorities are on the screen. The first, industry partnerships to establish strong industry partnerships at the national and local levels. Around brand awareness, to expand our brand awareness nationally and in local communities. In terms of revenue growth, to build a revenue engine for the long-term sustainable growth of the organization. Number 4, program excellence, to improve program effectiveness, to consistently deliver our intended results. Number 5, to be able to build and design an effective national model that supports our program expansion. And then finally, to create self-sustaining local operations in each of the cities where we have a presence. So we're going to touch on each one. So first, in the area of industry partners. It all starts with our industry partners. In 2022, we added 25 new industry partners to the ranks of those who are willing to interview, employ, and house our program participants. These new partners are in bold on this slide. And while the multifamily sector is a $3 trillion industry, it's also a very small one. Many of the people on this call were in fact responsible for introducing us to many of these new partners. So to all of you who did, thank you. In 2023, we're going to be adding an important position, a national partnership manager. Now, this is a position whose sole purpose is going to be to work with the multifamily industry from stewarding our current partners to helping us meet new ones. We're anticipating bringing this person on board by the end of February. Number 2, in the area of brand awareness. Last year, we were featured in Forbes magazine and in Units magazine, published by the National Apartment Association. We launched a comprehensive local and national social media strategy, primarily around utilizing LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And locally, we appeared in a number of apartment association publications and were featured prominently twice on the front page of the Houston Chronicle. In 2023, Catalyst, an Austin-based marketing firm that has provided many of their services to us on a pro bono basis over the years, will be refreshing our website. And they'll also be looking at some other initiatives to increase our brand awareness. We also plan to produce and distribute more videos highlighting the placements of our participants. Now, these videos are also on our website and they're on YouTube. So anytime you want to be inspired, go to those places because they're pretty amazing stories. Number 3, revenue growth. In 2022, we raised $2.5 million, roughly 2.5 times the $1 million we raised in 2021. Our goal for 2023 is approximately $3.5 million. Chris Finley, Walker & Dunlop, and the DRK Foundation were our top 3 financial supporters in 2022. In terms of in-kind donations, Middleburg Communities, and Court Furniture were our two top supporters, providing back office support and furniture for our participants, respectively. But our other goal, besides growth in revenue, is to diversify our revenue stream. And as you can see, we did just that in 2022 in two important ways. One, by revenue stream, and then secondly, by geography. And as we continue to diversify this, our hope is to do this even greater in 2023. Number 4, program excellence. Last year, we added some really important components to our program that I'd like to touch on. First, we reinstituted the use of background checks as the first step in our evaluation process of candidates who are referred to us. But then last year, we also partnered with Criteria and added a series of assessments that we utilize to help us determine an applicant's viability for our program. These assessments test for resiliency, ethics, emotional intelligence, and provide an overall personality profile. Now, if a candidate is still viable for our program after these two steps, they're then introduced to our Edge to Learn online learning platform, which we also added last year. We had 356 individuals take a total of 2,800 online courses in subjects specific to the apartment industry, as well as trainings in soft skills and basic life skills. In some cases, individuals took a group of courses that we called a pathway on topics such as leasing, maintenance, housekeeping, and groundskeeping. 252 pathways were completed last year. Now, these trainings were critical in helping our candidates understand the vocabulary of the multifamily industry, and in many cases were the difference between someone receiving an offer or not. Last year, we hired our first training manager, Robert Whitehead, who built out 30 customized courses in soft skills and life skills to add to the Edge to Learn catalog. And then finally, volunteers played a key role in our work as they helped rewrite resumes and provide job coaching for our candidates. In 2022, we also established a formal mentoring program to assist our candidates on their journey. We had 31 individuals who chose to walk alongside our participants for an entire year. People like George, who were recently featured in one of our videos, can be a critical component to a person's success. And then finally, last year, we began collecting data using a tool based on the Arizona Self-Sufficiency Matrix. Now, this data is collected 3 times. First, when a candidate receives an offer. Second, 90 days into their job. And then finally, at their 1-year graduation. And our goal with this is to measure how self-sufficient our participants become as a result of their involvement with our program. Looking to the future, in 2023, in Charleston and Orlando, we're piloting the concept of developing our own 2-week blended training program for maintenance and leasing roles. For maintenance roles, it'll include OSHA, EPA, and CPO certifications, as well as classroom and hands-on on-site training with some of our industry partners. In Charlotte, we're piloting the idea of a full-time local recruiting and placement manager who will spend all of his or her time identifying new sources of talent and new ways to deploy that talent within the multifamily industry. These pilots are all about having better equipped candidates and accelerating our growth in placements. Number 5, our national model. So our vision is to be in 25 cities by the year 2025. So we launched in 5 cities in 2021: Houston, Nashville, Charlotte, Atlanta, and the National Capital Region. In 2022, we launched in Phoenix, Orlando, Charleston, and the Dallas-Fort Worth area. From a national governance standpoint, last year we added 2 key individuals to the national board. Christy McFerrin is the president of Catalyst. Now, this is the marketing agency that I mentioned just a bit ago that does so much for us. We also added Margot Drakos from the DRK Foundation, which funds and provides operational support to proven models that are looking to scale. We also received from them a 3-year, $300,000 grant. And as we're looking at 2023, you are now getting a preview of an announcement we'll be making tomorrow. Doug Bibby, the president and CEO of NMHC, the National Multifamily Housing Council, is joining our national board. And I'm really excited about the impact he's going to have on helping us secure more multifamily industry partners. And then finally, number 6, around local sustainability. I'm so proud of the fact that each of our 9 markets has become or is very close to becoming self-sustaining. And there are 2 key reasons for this. Number 1, we've hired excellent executive directors who are skilled at fundraising. And the second reason is the effectiveness of our city advisory boards. We now have a total of slightly over 100 engaged, committed CAB members, many of whom are in the multifamily industry. I believe CAB members are the secret sauce of our organization, as they help fulfill the mission through money raised and given, and also through contacts in the multifamily industry. And their impact is often far beyond their local market. As you can see, the list of members is impressive. And I also want to say, if you're a CAB member and you're on this call, thank you for your commitment to this work. So bottom line, all this work enabled us to take 52 individuals out of their precarious, unstable, and often dangerous housing situations and place them in good paying, full-time jobs with benefits in fully furnished apartments on terms they can afford to pay, with the opportunity for long-term economic independence and potentially a new career. And this number does not include spouses and children. And I know you know this, but these placements don't just change the trajectory of one person's life. There's often a generational impact that can often be just as profound. Now, while this number of placements was twice as many as 2021, it's not nearly what we hoped it would be and what it frankly needs to be. The jobs are there. We just need more industry partners who are willing to give our participants a shot. And frankly, we also need to do a better job in training the right people to fill them. Our goal for 2023 is 184 placements. Now that's more than triple, almost 4 times last year. It's definitely ambitious, but I believe it's realistic. From an overall participation standpoint, we anticipate 450 participants to be part of our program in terms of receiving coaching, mentoring, and online learning. Now, sometimes these individuals drop out of our program as they may get a job in another industry, or they just simply decide this is not what they're looking for. But regardless, we believe these elements are critical to helping people get on their feet, whether their destination is ultimately through Shelters to Shutters or somewhere else. So I want to close this again with a big thank you. If you're on this call, it's because you're a stakeholder in this enterprise. You care about this issue and you have embraced our model. It doesn't happen without you. So thank you. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't plant some seeds in terms of what our needs are in 2023 and how you can help beyond what you're already doing. So let me just share a few of these with you. Number 1, as I mentioned earlier, we're looking to add 5 more cities in 2023. The cities have not been determined yet, as we're still operating from the standpoint that we're only going to go where we're invited. There are a lot of conversations taking place in Kansas City, in Indiana, in Denver, and in various cities in Texas and Florida. To launch a new city requires a $100,000 investment of seed capital. And what this does is that it enables us to hire an executive director. But we also know that engagement with the local apartment association and with multifamily industry representation on our city advisory boards are two critical components to launching well. So, anybody on this call who believes they know someone who would be interested in helping us get started in their community, just reach out to me. The multifamily industry has been the driving force in every city we have launched in so far. But frankly, it doesn't need to be. Anyone can help spearhead this effort. And then number two, we need more people committed to this work. There are a variety of ways to help. As a job coach, a mentor, city advisory board member, an industry partner, or a donor. It's all needed. And if you want to do more, let us know. But also, if you know someone that you believe would resonate with this mission, go ahead and meet with them. By virtue of the fact that you have already taken the time to participate in this conversation says you're already an ambassador for this work. And as such, we need to grow this movement to put more people to work and housed in a long-term, sustainable manner. Right now, we're small. Not a lot of people have heard of us, but that is changing. And I'm reminded of the quote by Margaret Mead, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world." In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. We're a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens. But you know, more people are involved in this work today than this time last year. And if each of us do our part, we'll be able to say the same thing at this time next year, and the year after, and the year after that. 2023 is going to be a key year for this mission. And I'm thrilled to be on this journey with you. And I believe we have about 15 minutes where we can take questions. So Kristen, let's go ahead and start.
To drop them in the chat as well. So one of the questions, David, is what strategies are you looking to deploy this year in increasing numbers of individuals getting hired?
Great question. So I touched on this just a little bit, but what we have come to understand is that we need to be more intentional about identifying individuals and getting them certified and trained. And so the pilots that I mentioned in Charlotte, in Orlando and Charleston, really involve the idea of establishing a cohort of individuals that would take a 2-week program with all these certifications, and then have our industry partners lined up to interview these candidates. And so that's going to be one way that we're doing this, but we're also trying to partner more, I would say, with organizations that are in the training business. So whether it's workforce development programs, Goodwill Industries, it's the training that is key. And so we're kind of taking the step to do it ourselves in cities where we need to, and partnering with others in communities where we have those partnerships.
Great. Another question, what is the ramp up time for cities or markets to get to a place where they can scale the number of program participants S2S serves? So we're talking about going into new markets and, you know, really that place where we're going to start seeing more movement there.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think what we're finding is, you know, we need more industry partners, but we also need to do a better job of sourcing our candidates. That's a key part, and frankly, that's what every sector is struggling with, and that is finding the talent they need for the open positions that they have. And so I think we're finding that's a key part. Having those partnerships with those organizations that are working with the population that we serve, and then being able to jump in quickly and get them trained to be attractive and successful in the multifamily industry. I think those are really where we've got to focus our efforts going forward.
Another question that's come in is, how do we find the individuals that come to our program that are interested in, in the positions within multifamily?
Yeah, so this is one of the most important jobs of our executive directors, is to work with it's traditionally nonprofit organizations that are serving this population and describing our program. We have MOUs with those organizations, and because we've got to be clear, our program is not for everybody. It's for those that are a situation has occurred and they find their housing unstable, but they're also interested in joining the multifamily industry. And so it's identifying those a memorandum of understanding, an agreement, but having those relationships with organizations that frankly have been doing great work for decades, and having those relationships and being able to identify those individuals that would be a good fit for our program, and then getting them trained and in front of our industry partners.
Okay, great. We got a lot of questions coming in here. So let's see. What is the expected involvement with local apartment associations to engage? And there's another question on how are we currently partnering with NAA, so the National Apartment Association? Right.
So we have had a lot of conversations with folks at NAA. I'm actually going to be out at NMHC next week. So if anybody on this call is going to be out at NMHC at their annual conference, I would love to grab a coffee with you. But out there, I'm going to be meeting with the president of NAA, Bob Penninger, and we're going to be talking about how that partnership could be even more robust. What we see is at a local level, every executive director is a member of their local apartment association. And so a number of them are on various committees of the apartment association and have really gotten involved. The apartment association has done a really nice job typically of featuring us in their local publication. They have conferences or dinners or banquets or golf tournaments. In some cases, we're the recipient of their efforts from a financial standpoint. And then, it's simply a place where the industry gathers. And to the extent that we're there and we're able to meet other folks in the industry, that's probably the greatest contribution that our apartment associations are making to our work.
David, is there a specific profile for the prospective multifamily partners that S2S is looking for?
We're really able to partner with three different sectors of the industry. So first of all, there are vendors, primarily to the management companies, but vendors to the ownership groups as well. But these are folks that provide services and products to the industry. And what we found is that the vendor community has really stepped up in so many ways, supporting us financially and also helping connect us with people that they work with in the industry. So the vendor group is one group. The management group, of course, they're the people that are hiring our candidates. And so partnership with the management companies, whether they're owner operators or third-party managers, those are the people that we want to have the partnerships with, their recruiters, with their HR departments, with their property managers, their community managers. So that's an important sector. And then the final one are the ownership groups. So they're the ones that typically have to sign off on the discount, on the housing discount. We ask that the security deposit would be waived. We ask that they would waive the first month's rent. And again, all of these are negotiable. What our individuals typically do not have a lot of money laying around. 60% of all Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. And so we ask for that. And then we negotiate the housing discount so that no more than 30% of their gross income is spent on rent. So it's very much a conversation with our industry partners. But those are the three aspects of the industry that we partner with the most.
Great. And to that question in terms of specific profile, I would just add that we partner with a range of companies that will look to hire our individuals. So we have small, local companies that are only in one city all the way up to national markets. So we really do have a range. They also serve or have a range of asset classes as well. So we're open to, having a partnership with all of those companies in between.
Yeah, thank you, Kristen. That's exactly right.
I think we have time. It's 12:28. So one last question, David. What would be you would say is the limiting factor to growth? Is it housing partners, money, program participants, other?
Yeah, it's a great question. So today we don't have enough industry partners. I believe when we give this address next year, I think just like this year where we were able to add 25 more industry partners, I think we'll be adding many more, and that will become less of an issue. But in certain cities, that's our limiting factor. Like, we have the candidates, we just don't have enough industry partners in those cities. But that's not across the board. In other cities, we have a large number of them. I think that long term, our limiting factor will be identifying the people for these jobs, just like everybody else. And again, I think that's where we're working really hard to not just identify them, but really upskill them, whether we're doing it ourselves or whether we're partnering with people to do it. I think from a financial standpoint, this is still very, we've been so reliant on our founder, and now that's starting to, we're starting to diversify that, which I'm so happy about. I would also say he is very happy about. And I think one of the great things about the model is that it's not an expensive model for us to be able to replicate. And I think that as we look at additional cities, that there are a lot of, I think, mid-sized cities that we could be in, precisely because we're not having to raise millions of dollars in each of these places. It's a fairly affordable model that we can do a great amount of good for a fairly modest amount of money having to be raised, and I think that's a real plus to the model. So, yeah. So let me just thank you. These are ways in which you can follow us, and just if again you have some questions that we were not able to get to, if you identified yourself, we will be able to get back to you. And the final thing I would just simply say is that I have been really fortunate to be part of some amazing organizations, the Houston Food Bank, Habitat for Humanity International, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, organizations that are much bigger, much better known, and they have great missions. But I will tell you that I think this mission is as powerful and as impactful as any organization I've been involved with. And I know you agree, otherwise you wouldn't be on this call. So let me just end by saying thank you to each and every one of you. And thank you in advance. Well, thank you for what you've done, but thank you in advance for what you're going to do in 2023.
Great. With that, we're going to go ahead and end the webinar. And if anyone needs a copy of the recording, please let us know. Thank you.